Coffee with Jeff. Coffee with Jeff. Coffee with Jeff.
Well, hello, how are you? My name is Jeff. I'm so glad you could be with me today. You know, it's a weird coincidence we're doing the film that we are today because, well, years ago I did a documentary about the man who created this film, Tom Graeff. And seriously, just the other day I received a comment on that documentary. Now, I don't remember what I said in the film, but apparently I must have compared him at one point or another to Ed Wood, or maybe I said that he could have been another Ed Wood or something like that. And a fellow named Six Haunting Days wrote, no way he could have been a celebrity like Wood. He didn't have the charm and frankly intelligence of Wood for one. Also, he barely made anything. One movie technically, and a horrendous one at that, unlike the classics of Wood. I don't know if I would call Ed Wood movies classics, but maybe some would. Anyway, it's really an odd comment. Remember, Ed Wood wasn't a celebrity till well after his death. He was all but forgotten about. It wasn't until 1980 when Michael Medved wrote about him in his book The Golden Turkey Awards that he became the celebrity we all know and love. Wood's charm and intelligence I don't think had anything to do with it. So actually, I stand by what I think I might have said 4 years ago, that if Tom Graeff had made a handful of films like Ed Wood, he might be remembered in a similar way today. Or maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, as we'll discuss today, his film is insane. Probably more insane than an Ed Wood movie. Because today I'm going to talk about a film that was first shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000 on June 27th, 1992. It was the American independent black and white science fiction film Teenagers from Outer Space. It was written, produced, and directed by Tom Graeff, who also appears in the film. It also stars David Love, Dawn Anderson, Harvey B. Dunn, and many other wonderful people. This is the episode in which Joel, tired of the bots saying the NBC mystery movie every time they see a flashlight, use electronic shocks to get them out of the habit. But in the end, Joel has to shock himself. Joel lets the bots do the invention exchange, and they create a scratch and sniff report card that will transport parents back to junior high school. In anticipation of the ventriloquist boom of the 90s, the Mads purchase over 200 Recessa Annie dolls to convert into ventriloquist dummies. Dr. Forrester gives a demonstration, and it goes badly. At first break, they do a skit called Reel to Reel, comparing what was seen in the film to how it would have been in real life, and then Joel goes off on a tangent. Later, in an unusually quick break, we get the gang overly excited about the snacks they jettison into space. While Joel and Tom play red or black with playing cards, Crow speculates on how alone the four of them are in outer space. Suddenly, Crow sees a ship. At first, Joel and Tom don't believe him, but eventually they see it as well. After their excitement dies, they realize it was sort of lame. And Tom's TriStar Pegasus turns out to be a cow, but Joel thinks it's okay. And in the end, Crow, Tom, and Joel model outfits like in the film, created with jumpsuits and duct tape, but apparently some of the pictures of Crow were not meant for the public. And we finish with Dr. Forrester having a romantic dinner with his Recessa Annie doll. And Frank, who acts as their waiter, pleads for help. Thrill-crazed space kids blasting the flesh off humans. Teenagers from outer space. Before, a beautiful girl. One moment later, a skeleton. Okay, first of all, I don't think there's any teenagers in this film. I don't think there's anybody under the age of 25 in this film. But they do use dime store Hubley atomic disintegrator toys to turn people into skeletons, including one beautiful woman, so I guess that part is accurate. Though the poster makes it look a little more exciting than it actually is, but that's a credit to the people who made the poster. Now, like I said, I did a bio of this fellow years ago, and it's still available if you want to watch it, but I'll briefly give you the condensed version. Tom lived from 1929 to 1970. He studied filmmaking and theater at UCLA in a theater arts department. It was while there he made a short film, A Toast to Our Brothers, about fraternity life, and that got him a lot of attention. After graduation, he made a 20-minute short recruiting film for Orange Coast College. Appearing in that film was Charles Robert Contenthier, who went by the name of Chuck Roberts, but would be billed in Teenagers from Outer Space as David Love. David and Tom had a romantic relationship going on at the time. His next film was in 1955 called The Noble Experiment, about an amateur biochemist who invents a get-along pill and puts it into a water supply. The thing about this film is Tom had a strange way of working. He would record the dialogue first and then have the actors, once the cameras were rolling, lip sync to the recorded dialogue. And I've read that he used that technique on Teenagers from Outer Space as well, though I'm not 100% sure. The following year, he was able to land a job with Roger Corman as an assistant during the filming of Not of This Earth. He even made a cameo as a park car attendant in the film. After that, he thought it was time to make his own film, one that he would write himself, and he called the film The Boy from Another World. To finance the film, he got his friends to invest, including Bryan Grant and his wife Ursula Hanson, who both appear in the film. Later, Ursula said in an interview about Tom was very talented. He was a fantastic con artist. He conned everybody into doing the movie for nothing. To get the use of the house, he pretended to be a UCLA student and was given the use of the house for 3 days. And of course, the monster in the film was nothing more than a lobster, and by the end, it was dead and smelling very bad. And in the end, he was able to sell the film to Warner Brothers for about $28,000, and it was Warner Brothers who changed the name to Teenagers from Outer Space. And of course, Tom didn't pay back any of his investors. In fact, Brian Pearson and his wife Ursula sued him to get their money back and a little of the profits. I'm not sure how that went, but they were good friends before the making of this film, but once it was done, they never talked again. And as you can imagine, this film got horrible reviews. So now, why don't we look at a few of the actors? David Love plays Derek. David was born in 1934, and I have no idea if he's alive or dead. Nor do I know anything about him. His life is a complete mystery, so. Dawn Bender plays Betty Morgan. Dawn, who is billed under her married name Dawn Anderson, was born in 1935 and I believe is still alive today. She started out as a baby actor and appeared in films through the 1940s, but her real claim to fame was in a popular radio drama, One Man's Family. The role made her a household name, and she continued as the character Margaret for 17 years. By the time of this film, she was married and planning to retire, but was recruited by a friend of a friend to be in the film. It was her last. She became a school teacher and taught for 40 years. Bryan Grant plays Thor. Bryan was born in 1931 and got the part because he invested $5,000 in the film, along with his wife Ursula Hanson, who plays Hilda. Ursula lived from 1929 to 2006. Harvey B. Dunn plays Gramps Morgan. Harvey lived from 1894 to 1968. I did a documentary on Harvey a few years ago. He was known for missing a finger. When he wasn't acting, he performed at kids' parties with his pet bird. He's best known for his work with Ed Wood in films like Bride of the Monster in 1955, Night of the Ghouls in 1959, and The Sinister Urge from 1960. And lastly, we have King Moody as the spacecraft captain. Robert King Moody lived from 1929 to 2001. He achieved some sort of later fame, appearing in 10 episodes of the comedy TV series Get Smart, but even bigger than that, he played Ronald McDonald in McDonald's commercials from 1969 to 1985. And he has the best line in this film.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
So now why don't we watch the film? What is Teenagers from Outer Space? Our film opens in an observatory, in a pre-credit sequence, and something odd is being observed in the sky. But don't worry too much about these two, we won't see them again. A flying saucer is landing, and I'm wondering if that white twirly thing on the bottom is part of the ship, or is that supposed to be smoke or something? This is another example of not so special effects. The top of the spaceship opens and someone comes out, and he wastes no time in killing a dog. I'm guessing he's not the hero of the film. Wow, what sophisticated headgear. Doesn't look at all like somebody was shopping at an army surplus store, does it? Look at all the aliens appearing out of the ship. My question would be, is that ship a TARDIS? Or maybe a lot of the ship is underground. I'm not really sure. So, what kind of a reading do you think they're getting from a Burlant multi-mixer? But I guess the aliens know what they're doing.
Thor reporting. 42 saturation degrees and 96 volumes.
One of the beings, Derek, takes notice of the dog's bones. He finds its tags.
Wait, Captain. I have found evidence of intelligent beings on this planet.
Of what concern are foreign beings?
Of none to you, Thor.
One thing occurred to me. These 4 men have been traveling across light years of space in that little tiny ship. Do you think there's a shower in there? I mean, that must have been a long voyage. They bring out something they call a gargan. It looks a lot like a lobster. Maybe King Moody can explain a little.
Soon this planet will be covered with full-grown gargans. A safe distance from our planet, yet their meat will be available to us for the harvesting.
So apparently these gargans will grow to a huge size and destroy all life on Earth, and Derek doesn't like that idea.
Only civilized beings could have made the inscription on this metal piece. We shall not have the thousands of gargans brought here to destroy them.
You have concern for foreign beings over our mission to locate grazing land for our gargan herds?
Gargan herds? I don't like the sound of that. You see, life on Earth is what life used to be like back on their home world. He knows this from the Bible. I don't know where he got the Bible, but the commanders had enough and he puts Derek under arrest. While the ship's commander is talking to their leader, Derek manages to escape because, well, he was guarded by the worst guards ever. But the ship's commander shockingly learns something new about Derek.
Derek is to be brought back alive. He is the son of our leader.
Derek?
So Derek enters a small town and he's looking for the owner of the dog.
1243 Willowcrest Drive. That's just 3 blocks down there and a few doors up. You can't miss it.
At the same time, Thor is sent to get Derek and kill anybody he has made contact with.
Hop in, I'll give you a lift.
Lift?
Well, it's a long way into town.
Now, is this something that happened a lot in the late 50s? When a stranger sees a man in a jumpsuit walking alongside the road, they stop and offer him a ride? Derek arrives at the house of the dog owner, a beautiful girl who lives with their grandpa. Now, it just so happens they have a room for rent, and they're willing to let this total stranger rent the room, even though he doesn't have any luggage, no means of income, no first month's deposit, nothing. At least they could have asked for some ID, but anyway, I think Betty has an interest in this dude, so.
Well, let's take a look at the room, and if you like it, you're welcome to stay.
It's this way. I'll show it to you.
Hey, I thought you were getting ready to go swimming.
No, that can wait. Right in here, Derek. I hope you like the view. There's plenty of room.
And there's Joe, the reporter, played by our writer and director. Thor is on the trail, and the killing has begun. I know I've brought this up in the past, but human skeletons won't stay together like that unless they're wired together, like a skeleton used for a classroom or something. Betty gives Derek driving lessons, because that's what a young girl does with a complete stranger. And after, they go to her friend Alice's for a little swimming. But they never do go swimming because this happens.
What was that?
Don't worry, I'll get it.
Derek drops Sparky's dog tags into the pool. After Derek explains how the dog died, Betty insists on seeing it for herself.
Will you take me to where it happened?
I'll get dressed and come with you.
No, Alice, please. You stay here. We'll see you later.
Meanwhile, Thor arrives at Betty's house. And Grandpa, well, he tells the evil Thor exactly where Betty and Derek are.
Daughter, they went over to the Woodwards. Why don't you go on over there? No doubt they'll be glad to have you joined in the fun.
Yes. How do I go there?
This, unfortunately, doesn't end well for Alice.
I said you will call no one.
After visiting the bones of Sparky, Derek and Betty decide to meet with a college professor, because I guess he could help. But before they go, Betty needs to put on a fancy dress. She leaves her sleeping grandfather a note. And that's good because, well, how else could he tell Thor where to find them?
Betty left me a note. Now they've gone over to the college to see Professor Simpson.
And that doesn't end well for the professor.
Up there,
I don't know what you're talking about.
you will speak to no one else.
Thor escapes through a window just before Betty and Derek arrive.
Oh,
I will go to your place.
no. They may be waiting for you there. I can call Grandpa.
So Betty calls Gramps and,
We're going to the City Hall police station right now.
hey, wait a minute, don't give him any more information. Hasn't his big mouth resulted in enough killing? So after talking to Grandpa, Betty calls the police. I'm just curious what she told them. Something about a ray gun turning people into skeletons? But whatever it was, the police believed her. Meanwhile, Thor and Grandpa meet again, and not only does Grandpa tell him everything, but he gives Thor a ride.
He's not here. He's in the center of the city.
Where? Take me there. You will pilot the vehicle. Go. Be swift.
But I guess that's understandable since Thor has a gun. And as all this goes on, Joe the reporter, our writer-director, is always one step behind. So the action moves to outside City Hall. There's a thrilling and intense shootout, and after a few officials get skeletonized, Thor gets shot. After the shootout, Thor is missing, but Betty sees a clue.
Look. Here on the sidewalk. Drops of blood.
Blood, huh? You mean right next to that car that could have somebody hiding in it?
Give me the weapon you have, Derek. Slowly.
Thor makes Betty and Derek give him a ride to a doctor. I'm wondering what happened to all the police and the detectives who were around just minutes ago. I don't know, but eventually they show up and they put two and two together.
Blood spots on the sidewalk. And where's that car that was parked here? That's it. That's how the killer got away.
They arrive at the doctor's house, and for some reason, the doctor doesn't laugh at the toy gun Thor is holding. Thor forces the doctor to remove the bullet without the use of any painkillers or anesthesia. And during the operation, the truth comes out.
You are the son of our leader.
Eventually, Derek and Betty sneak out, and Thor, well, Thor has looked better. The nurse arrives and finds Thor. She fixes him up, but then he makes the nurse drive him to the abandoned mines where their spaceship had first landed. But already at the mines are reporter Joe and one of the detectives. The detective goes into the cave with the Gorgon, and we can only imagine the horror that man is going through. Moments later, the nurse with Thor arrive, but the nurse risks her own life to save Joe.
He's getting away. Follow him.
No.
Dare refuse.
That was cold. But the nurse is amazing and jumps from the moving vehicle.
The man guilty of these strange killings now lies mute in confinement at General Hospital, where he is being treated for minor injuries.
Okay, let's jump ahead to Derek looking for Thor's gun that he lost in the car wreck. He needs it because the giant lobster is on a killing spree and the gun is the only thing that might kill it. Betty comes along to help find it, and it looks like there might be a little romance in the air.
But I like you very much.
In a moment, the moon will come from behind a cloud.
Is it supposed to be night? Okay. Anyway, he tells her everything and then makes her a promise.
I shall make the earth my home, and I shall never, never leave it.
Love is in the air, but then...
The Gargan, get back!
There it is, Derek! It was under the rock!
What a bit of luck! They take the weapon back to Graff's house so Derek can work on it. If only Derek can fix the gun. Okay, to make a long story short, Derek thinks that if he can hook the gun up to the power lines, it would have enough power to kill the beast. So as he hooks it up, Betty calls the power station and they do as she asks. Because, yeah, that would happen.
Not enough! It is not enough power!
Can you boost the power any, please? It's not enough.
I'll try to speed up the generators.
The lobster, the Gargon, well, it's dead, but the horror isn't over yet. The alien fleet is on their way with a whole herd of Gargons. And to make matters worse, Derek seems to have joined the enemy.
Your people are here for you. I must leave. They will take care of you.
But Derek, you promised.
Yeah, Derek, you made a promise.
You will do as I say.
No, Derek, this isn't you.
Do not interfere, Betty. I beg you. Get in.
He even helps Thor escape. Betty is heartbroken.
Promised he would never leave. Oh, Joe.
Well, look who's here. It's Daddy. And if I didn't know better, I'd say that beard wasn't real. To prove his loyalty, Derek wants to help.
Let me be the one to direct them in for landing.
Captain, are the ships close enough to receive their landing signals?
Momentarily, but...
Then go below, Derek. You will bring them in.
Bottom line, Derek was a traitor to his own people and sacrificed himself to save Betty and the Earth, although we don't see any of it. We finish with Derek looking down from the sky, protecting us all, or something like that. I don't know.
I shall make the Earth my home, and I shall never, never leave it.
It's a pretty original idea, don't you think? Aliens coming to Earth to use the planet as a breeding ground for their major food source. It's not that bad of an idea, right? Anyway, the filmmaker just needed a bit more money and perhaps a professional screenwriter. But honestly, I don't know what could have made the film any better, except for a better screenplay, better actors, better direction, and that type of thing. I guess the film's alright for what it is, maybe, I don't know. Did you like the film? I can't remember what I thought about it the first time I saw it. Anyway, a little more on Tom Graeff. He had some mental issues. His only other film he worked on after this was the 1964 low-budget science fiction film, The Wizard of Mars, starring John Carradine. Later, he began calling himself Jesus Christ II and giving sermons at local churches. It was a whole thing. Anyway, he ended up committing suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning in 1970, and he was only 43 years old. Sort of a sad ending there. Now, the music in this film was all stock music. It was the same music, a lot of it, that was used in George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. You may have recognized it. And some of the other music was used in films like Red Zone Cuba and The Killer Shrews. Now, the film MST3K showed about 75 minutes, and the real film was about 85 minutes, so they cut out 10 minutes, including the whole pre-credit sequence with the two scientists. Probably just for time. Now, for today's obscure reference, we have this.
I believe I've seen uniforms like yours before.
I like you, Gramps. That's why I killed you last.
Military secret, eh?
That, of course, is a line from the 1985 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Commando.
You're a funny guy, Sully. I like you. That's why I'm going to kill you last.
Right now, why don't we watch the best 2 minutes of the film as it was shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I am the Eggman Ukukachu.
Derek reporting.
Hi, Derek.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
Torture!
For this treat. When we return to our home base, you will be presented to the High Court with the evidence against you.
For torture!
Look at that stupid jumpsuit belted at the waist. Yours is nice. Operator, there's a naked girl in my pool and she's nude.
Derek killed your dog. Derek killed your dog.
Gramps started early today.
Oh, Grandpa, I bought that NyQuil for colds, not for you to make NyQuiladas.
Oh, it sure was a nice place. Guy could really rent a room here. Sure would like to rent one of these rooms.
Derek.
Surprise!
Look. Oh,
yeah, come on.
Yes,
come on.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, yes. Come on, baby, come on. Come on. Row, row, row. Come on, sing! Row, row, row your boat.
Where are we going?
Derek? Derek, can I have the keys so I can listen to the radio at least?
What makes you think Betty's in the cellar? She's out
She's
somewhere
not
with
buried
Derek
down there
again.
with her mother.
Everybody's supposed to take shelter.
You've got to be kidding me.
We are the supreme race. We have the supreme weapons.
Turn Rush Limbaugh off.
Do not interfere, Betty. I beg you. Get in.
No, we can't have a plot twist this late in the movie.
Promised he would never leave.
Oh, your problems are the most important, aren't they?
Oh, great, it's Mr. Torture again.
So you were able to bring him back, Thor.
Torture! How is it you are able to leave the planet?
It's a spaceship,
Will
and
not
you
the
just sort of
government structure
boom with
collapse
the
in your
thing, and
absence?
Oh, criminy, there's little chunks of Derek everywhere.
Well, let's go home. I got a room to rent out.
So I have only one email to read today, but before I read it, I need to explain something. I know I'm an old man, right? But as an old man, I'm relatively healthy. I don't have the knee or back problems that so many of my friends of the same age have. I can still do most of the stuff that I was doing 30 years ago. I may be a little slower in doing it, but I can do it. So it's easy to forget once in a while that I am as old as I am. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to lie about my age. I get it, I'm an old man and I'm fine with it. But after last week's episode, somebody with this name, who I'm not going to pronounce, wrote, "The show is cute. It's like Grandpa explaining his favorite TV show with an eloquent accuracy." Grandpa, really? You're calling me Grandpa? Actually, that made me laugh. It reminds me that I'm the guy that I would have called Grandpa 30 years ago if I was watching this video, so that's okay. Where I take exception is the fact you used the word cute. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll be back in 2 weeks with a film that was originally titled Time Walker, but was renamed by Film Ventures International as being from another planet. This is the film that Tom Servo declared the worst film out of all the previous bad films they had watched. We'll see if it's really that bad. I don't know anything about this film, so it might be a fun one to research. Anyway, I hope you will join me. Now you take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.